Naturally, Iran tries today to use all the cards to deter Israel and not to lose the card of Hezbollah in Lebanon after the mega losses that they incurred. And after the losses incurred by Hamas, represented in the killing of Yahya Sinwar, the political and military leader of Hamas. That's why Iran now is trying to use some cards that it kept Hezbollah for a year not using them, even if they have used them before September 17th, the actual date of the war between Israel and Hezbollah. Maybe if they kept preventing them, maybe things wouldn't have reached this limit. But the goal of Iran is an all-out regional war in the Middle East and not to lose the negotiations regarding the nuclear file with the United Nations and with the other states. That's why it tried to keep its strongest arm in the region, which is Hezbollah. But when Hezbollah dragged Israel and when things went out of control and went out of these rules, Iran started to use these cards, starting from Benyamina operation a few days ago that resulted in the killing of 4 Israeli soldiers, in addition to several injured people, in addition to the operation of assassinating Netanyahu that didn't succeed, as if it is a warning message to Israel that moving forward and targeting civilians and the policy of the burnt land and the destruction of villages, this will all lead to a further escalation by Hezbollah, but eventually, and Iran is the one who says the final decision regarding the operations and the used weapons, and many concessions should be made for the settlement that is expected. This depends on what takes place in the secret channels between Washington and Tehran. And if there's an actual agreement on limiting these operations and reducing them to a certain level, which we have witnessed over the past few days when there was a kind of calmness in most of the Lebanese territories. Of course, there was some targeting of some villages, but compared to the previous days, it's somehow a limited escalation. And now and today, the severity of this confrontation is increasing in the district with many strikes after the attempted assassination of Netanyahu in Syria.
Now, this attempt, or the Benjamin Netanyahu's house attempt, that came after the assassination of the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. So, do you think the assassination of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar would save Netanyahu from accountability within his country?
I believe that this is right. It's a great achievement for Netanyahu, but it was preceded by other achievements that are more important than this, what happened on the Beirut explosion on September 17th. It's a historic, unprecedented operation. It saved Netanyahu massively inside Israel and before the international community and before the Democratic and Republican administrations. It was followed by another achievement that Israel considers it the most important, which is the assassination of the most important leader in the Axis, who is the Secretary General of Hezbollah, Mr. Hassan Nasrallah. That's why I believe that the assassination of Sinwar would not be the savior of Netanyahu, because he increased his popularity in side Israel, and he gained a large endorsement from the Israelis to conduct a war, not only a limited operation in the south. There's a great Israeli support to Netanyahu to change the whole reality in the north, not only in the south of Lebanon, but in all over Lebanon, and to exclude Hezbollah from the political Lebanese equation and from the regional equation, since the party became a very difficult figure or impossible figure in the regional equations before the assassination of the Secretary General and the frontline leaders. So the popularity was gained again on September 17th. And it was even restored before, when he assassinated the most important leaders in Hezbollah and eliminating all the military power and targeting the weapons warehouses, while Hezbollah only responded with very limited strikes within the policy of strategic patience followed by Iran, through which it didn't want more involvement of Hezbollah in this war, but the Lebanese people paid the price, because since October 8th and until today, we have more than 2,000 Lebanese martyrs. Most of them are civilians, except for the Hezbollah affiliated people. But the bigger bill was incurred by the Lebanese people. But Hezbollah is humiliated today when they are in the shelters and in the areas that are very terrifying, creates a division that would lead to a civil war at the end of the day. Israel kept trying to spread division by sending warnings.
The credibility of world bodies, particularly the Security Council, is at stake. So do you think the Security Council this time would finally take an action to stop the escalating aggression in Gaza and Lebanon?
It might happen. However, I do not believe that the experience of Gaza would send a positive omen for us, or a good omen for us, because we have been listening to and watching lots of statements issued by the Security Council and the endless sessions and the international and UN agencies and Secretary General of the United Nations. But all of these statements and condemnations and declarations were only ink on papers, so they were merely a propaganda. Hence, today, there is an Israeli movement to stop the work or the operations of UNIFIL that was mandated in 1978 to create an area that is free from the military operations and to maintain the security of Lebanon and Israel equally. So how can we discuss international resolutions while we are seeing almost an agreement? Because today we listened to the responsible for the foreign policy of the European Union when he talked about the possibility of stopping the international forces, which gives an indication of lots of danger.